Sometimes people that look like they're people of means don't have as much as they think. They're having to work themselves to death to have what they got. And this is because some people do have a bigger house. Sometimes people in churches give them a higher respect than somebody who does not. They said, does it happen here? I don't think so. I hope not. But it's respect to persons. Sometimes it's marital status. You know, and I've seen this in my Christian life. I don't know that it was intentional sometimes, but you know, most of you don't know it, but I didn't get married until I was 32 years old. That's why I look so old right now. To be married working on 21 years and look so old is because I had to have started late. But you know, I've noticed in the church that I've been in during that time, when any type of activity went on during the church, where it's something extra activity other than some church-sponsored activity, I never got invited. People exactly my age had absolutely nothing to do with me. Nothing. What did I do? Did I have bad breath? Well, I don't think I did. I may have, but no, I don't know what it is. Same age they were. Economically speaking, the same where right they were. What was the difference? They were married and I was not, therefore I was an outcast. And then when it comes time for special functions where the group of my age were getting together, I was ostracized, all because I'd done the horrible thing of not getting married. And it's the same thing with different ages. Sometimes the older folks never want to include the younger folks in anything. And it goes back and forth, the young with the old with the young, and the middle age, sometimes they don't want to have anything to do with either one. Does it hurt? Does it really matter? Yes, it does if you're one on the outside. Did it really matter in the churches James was talking about? Maybe we couldn't notice this on the outside, but they were brethren there. They were young Christians that were having their feelings hurt, and they were being discouraged because someone had nothing to do with them because of maybe their marital status or maybe their age. They were taken and totally cast out of a situation. They weren't included in these matters. Oh, yes, I know them. I went to school with them, right? They sat right in front of me in class. But when it comes to things outside the home in the church situations, let's not have anything to do with them. They're not like us. Well, they're the same age you are. And the same way goes in the opposite directions. Marital status is sometimes the reason when people have respect to persons. It's not right. Talents. Some people want to flock to those who have talents. They want to be friends with those who have talents. They want to be buddies with those who can sing. And they want to be buddies with ones who have special abilities. And they don't want to buddy up or even at least have common Christian decency to have fellowship with those who do not have these abilities. That's called respect to persons. God hates it. Sometimes it's an occupation. If somebody's got a really nice job, they'll say, yes, brother. I like you. I like what you're doing. Yes, sister, this is great. And their fellowship is dependent many times on the lack occupations where that's not unity. That may be somebody under the same roof, but it's not unity. That's respect to persons. And in some situation, it's a case of race or ethnic background. Some churches are larger. Some people don't have anything to do with their race. It's not exactly their race. They've totally shut that person out. They'll have no fellowship with that brother. Oh, thank God. We thank God he's saved. We're praising God that he's saved, but I don't want him at my house. Oh, yeah, he can come to church, but I'm not going to shake his hand. I'm glad he's saved. I'm glad he's not going to hell, but, you know, he's just not like me. So we exercise respect to persons. And why shouldn't they have respect to persons? Number 1, in verse 9, he says, but if you have respect to persons, you commit sin, or are convinced of the law as transgressors. In other words, the one reason why we shouldn't exercise respect to persons is because God says it's sin. Is that not enough? But it happens in our churches all the time. Another reason they shouldn't exercise respect to persons is because it destroys church unity. You may have a group of people together, but the unity is not there the way it should be as long as there is respect to persons. Also, another reason you shouldn't have respect to persons is because it warps your kids. Parents, you're teaching kids. They're looking at you. They act like they don't listen to a thing you say. They act like they don't hear what you're saying. They act like you're totally from another planet. They act like you know absolutely nothing and they know everything, but they are watching you. And to show respect to persons in front of them will warp them for now and who don't know how long. Also, we shouldn't have respect to person because it affects our witnessing potential. Do we limit who we witness to on our own preferences? Do we decide who is worthy of the gospel on our preference of what we think they should be? If we exercise respect to person in the church, we will also exercise respect to person in our testimony. It happens every time. And another reason we should not have respect to person is it kills our effectiveness in our prayer life. God's not going to honor that. God expects us to have love one for the other just as Christ had love for the people he was around. He expects us to have unity. And also we shouldn't do it because it holds you accountable at the judgment seat of Christ, as we spoke of in Sunday school this morning. Respect to persons is not a good thing, but it's here. Respect to persons is bad. James has a sin, and he addressed the 12 tribes because even in the early days of the church, they were having a problem with respect of persons. We find that the early church had a problem with respect to persons. And by the grace of God, hopefully they overcame that. But in the year 2009, if we're not careful, if Satan can't knock you down any other way, if he can't destroy this church here any other way, he'll attack us with respect to persons. God help us that we never get to that situation here. We need to love one another, Jesus said. He says, they'll know that you're my disciples because of the love you have one for another. And this world is not ignorant. This world is not stupid. They can tell when you're showing respect to persons, to people. When these people visit this church here, if we show respect to persons, they take note of that. And Satan will take every note that they took and blow it and tear it out of proportion, do anything he can to discourage them from ever returning here again. Or if they return him, he'll give them some type of some idea that they're on the guard because they've already seen respect to persons. So folks, church, let's make sure that never happens here at Gethsemane Church. I want to ask Brother Stewart to come with the hymn of invitation. We don't know